Hi there, people. So let's do a second clip about breakout rooms. There may even be a third, actually, come to think of it. So in this clip, I'd like to think about how we monitor, how we prime our students before they go to the breakout room, and how we monitor what they're doing while they're in there. Now, I get to observe quite a lot of teachers teaching their lessons these days, and in face-to-face classes, as in online classes. One of the points I regularly find myself making is that the way we monitor really depends on the aim of the task we've given our learners in the first place. And as far as online lessons go, there are two reasons, I think, that we send students to breakout rooms. The first one is to give them some sort of think time, time to knock some ideas about with a partner, with a classmate, or in a small group, and to prepare something, to think about something in preparation for a task that they're going to do afterwards. So it's kind of, preparation time, think time. The other reason we might send them to breakout rooms is to allow them to actually get some language practice in, using the language we've been studying in sentences, in conversation with a partner, asking them some questions, giving them some answers. These are the two reasons I think, principally, we send people to breakout rooms. And depending on which one of those two it is, we can prime our students in a different way, and we need to monitor them in a different way. So I'll tackle these two, the one, then the other. So if we're sending our students to breakout rooms for some think time, in order to knock some ideas about, brainstorm, as it were, then first of all, the primer before they go, and I talk more about sort of priming our students for breakout rooms in this little book, Understanding Teenage Language Learners Online, available from Pavilion. I'll talk about explaining the instructions, giving the instructions in the chat box, and orally as well before they go. The primer is basically, I'd like you to go and think about something. You're going to have to do something when you come back, but also give some sort of evidence of what you've been discussing. So if they're knocking about ideas, maybe a list of the ideas they've had, or a few notes or a schema, something like that, so that when they come back, if they have to show something for the time they've spent in the room, even if it's just holding up a piece of paper with a few ideas, then they're much more likely to try to be productive in the breakout room. That's the primer for sending students to breakout rooms, to give them some think time. And the way we monitor basically is, we don't have to monitor all of that, because we're actually trying to give them some time on their own, a little bit of space, some creative space. But we do need to check things are up and running. So ideally, we explain to them before we send them in, I shall pop into your breakout room just for a few seconds. I'll say hello, ask you if you can hear and see each other, if you've got the instructions to the task, and then if everything's fine, I shall pop out again and leave you to do the task. And that's what we do. We just pop into each room, say hello, everything good, check they've both got each other on visuals, or they can hear each other. Yep, you know what you're doing, great guys, I'll leave you to do it. That's all we really need. It's just checking people are on task. So the other reason we might send people to breakout rooms is for them to get some solid language practice in, speaking with a partner, the equivalent of pair work in a classroom. Now in this case, we will want to be in there monitoring, tuning in and hearing what they're saying, so that we can later feedback with additional language, maybe some correction, some pronunciation, and generally give their language a little bit of an upgrade. So we want to be in there for some time listening, and we want them to be communicating while we're in there. So the primer for that is going to be different. Guys, the whole reason I'm putting you into breakout rooms is so you can practice language. It's also my job to come along and listen and help you. So when you see me join the breakout room, you may say, hello teacher, to acknowledge my arrival, and I will say hello, and then I won't speak anymore. I'll go quiet, and I'd like you guys to continue the task you were doing. Keep speaking, because if you keep speaking, I can listen, then I can help you with your English. That's the idea. That's the primary. You see how that's very different from the other primary, yeah? Where we're prepping them to expect us to come along and to know that we expect them to continue. And we can also tell them a couple of things that really, won't cut it. For example, if I enter the breakout room and you guys are silent and you've not been speaking at all, I'm afraid that's I have to make a note of that. And then the next time, I can't send you to the breakout room because I can't be sure you're going to actually practice. So then you'll have to stay with me. Also, another little warning we can give them. If I enter the breakout room and you guys tell me, oh, we've finished, teacher. Well, that doesn't help me. The reason I'm there is to listen to you. So if you say that, my answer will be, okay, excellent. Well, can you run through it all again so that I can hear you and give you some feedback? This time should be even better. So you see, we're priming them for a smoother possible activity, and we're trying to clear away any obstacles at the outset. And then obviously we're monitoring different groups. We might not get to monitor everybody in the same activity, but we might move, once we've tuned in, listen for a minute or two, move to another group, and maybe a third group if we have time. So those are the essential differences, I think, when we're monitoring our students in breakout rooms. In the next clip, I'm going to talk about a few more aspects of breakout rooms, and then maybe we'll leave that and we'll move back to talking about methodology for online teaching. Strength and energy with your teaching both face-to-face and online.